Hi, I'm Demetrius Sinistroza from Urbanite Collective, and you're listening to Overcoming Fear, Entrepreneurship. Hi, welcome back. This is Overcoming Fear, Entrepreneurship. It's your host, Demetrius Sinistroza from Urbanite Collective. I'm sitting here today with Adam Bantner. Would you like to introduce yourself?
As you mentioned, my name's Adam Bantner, and I am a board-certified criminal defense attorney and do a little bit of personal injury as well through my firm, which is called the Bantner Firm. And I'm also a candidate for Hillsborough County Court Judge, Group 2. The election's August 28th, so I would love to have your vote.
So what made you run for a judge?
It's a little bit longer story, but it's essentially, and it's very cliche, but it's to serve the community. And I've always been involved in serving the community, whether it's through the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, other civic organizations, and that's just always been a part of what I do. And so I thought about running for legislative office, try to make a difference there, but I didn't really see a good path or a good fit for me in the legislature. It's just a different animal there, and I don't think I would fit in there and be effective there. But I feel I can be effective from the bench and just to serve my fellow man just by being a good judge, being fair, being patient, and following the law, and I think I can do a good job there.
All right. So what made you start your own firm?
What made me want to start it? It's the firm I was with at the time that I started my firm. They almost kind of forced my hand, and they're great people, and I still love the attorneys I used to work with, but they just kind of changed the pay structure to where it was actually riskier to stay with that firm than to open my own shop. And I don't want to get into all the details of that and why that was the case, but it made more sense. And I've always kind of had an entrepreneur spirit anyway, so it just kind of forced my hand into hanging that shingle and going after it.
No problem. What was your first obstacle you had to overcome starting your firm?
The first obstacle is just getting your name out there as a business owner. Like anything else, you could be the greatest attorney in the world, you could be the greatest banker in the world, you could be the greatest poet in the world, but if nobody knows who you are, nobody knows your name and knows that you can provide those services, they're not going to call you. So the greatest obstacle was just kind of getting my name out there and getting known in the community as a good attorney, a great criminal defense attorney that can help people out.
So how do you build that trust with that client?
It's by doing great work with your current clients. I mean, you always got to put them first and above everything else. Do great work for them, then they'll refer you, and your reputation will build. But it's also just getting out there in the community, shaking hands, going to networking events, getting involved with organizations, getting involved in leading organizations, and just kind of building your reputation and building that trust in the community.
Okay, so it's safe to say it's all about volunteering first.
Not all about that, but it's a big part of it.
Okay.
I mean, people want to see you out there donating your time and being involved in things that don't necessarily benefit you directly financially. They want to see that your heart's in the right place and that you're a part of the community, not just somebody who's trying to take from it.
Okay, and so to describe your journey from being from a stable law firm and starting your own, can you describe the transition from that?
It wasn't all that complicated. It wasn't as complicated as you think it would be. It really was nothing more than, creating my law firm name, creating some marketing materials, some business cards, getting a logo created, creating a website, a lot of that kind of basic foundational stuff that you need for a business these days, and then just getting out there. And the transition, it was scary, not knowing where that paycheck was going to come from, not knowing if that phone was going to ring, but also exhilarating at the same time when that phone finally does ring, and then you sit down with a potential client, and then they hire you and they hand you a check, and you're excited and you're thrilled to go to work for them because they give you that chance to earn their trust and to help them out of a situation.
All right. Now, did you have to start from scratch with new clients, or did you already have established base?
I think I brought over maybe 2 or 3 clients with me from my old firm, but they were clients that, quite frankly, had already paid. They paid my old firm, so they weren't any new money or new revenue coming into me. So at least I had work, and I was going to be in the courtroom, and I had things to do. But yeah, as far as getting my own clients, I had to generate a brand new revenue stream.
Can you describe your techniques on how you conquer fear?
It's really by preparation. I mean, everybody's going to be fearful of something. Everybody's going to be nervous of something. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. But the way you overcome that fear and mitigate it is just by being prepared. Whether it's a trial coming up, knowing that you've done everything you can in that case to know your facts, know your theory of defense, know the law on it, know what the witnesses are going to say, so that when you walk in that courtroom, you know what's going to happen. Same thing in business. You get out there and you know that you put your marketing in place, that you've made the right connections, that you have the right referral sources, that you know that phone is going to ring in the future. So it's really preparation. Preparation will help you more than anything else to overcome any amount of fear.
Do you have any current obstacles right now going on?
Yeah, the only obstacle I really have right now is just time. I mean, as I mentioned, I'm running for county court judge, and I'm also a father. I have an 8-year-old son. So I'm really pulled in about 20 different directions for my time. So as far as growing my firm and expanding my firm, I don't have time to do that. I keep it kind of at the status quo right now because I have other obligations to family and to my campaign as well. So outside of the time restriction, there's not a whole lot of other obstacles right now other than just the daily beat out your fellow attorneys for business, just the part of competing in the marketplace. And there's a lot of attorneys out there that do a lot of the same thing, and you have to convince people that you're the best person for them, that you're the right hire. But the main obstacle I have right now is just time, just the clock.
Well, speaking of time,
Yeah.
I know I am horrible at time management. So do you have any tips on time management, since your biggest obstacle is time? So how do you tend to manage it?
Have a very accurate calendar, have a to-do list. If you don't do those two things, you're just kind of blowing with the wind. So have your calendar, be faithful to it, and carve out time for personal time as well. You need breaks, you need respites, you need time for family, you need time to be able to cut back and cut loose and not worry about work. So just calendar, and then you should be good and then you won't be missing anything, and you'll know what you have coming up, and you can plan for it.
So what do you do when there's a wrench in your plan?
Yeah, something comes up, a hearing lasts 3 hours instead of 30 minutes or something like that, and it makes you blow an appointment or miss a meeting. You just adapt. You just go with it, and it's prioritizing stuff. Within your calendar, you know what's important. You know what things you have to be at, and which things are stuff that you maybe like to be at or want to be at. So, for example, if I have a court hearing and I have it on my calendar for maybe a half hour, I'm thinking that's all it's going to go, and for whatever reason I end up being stuck there for 3 hours, that's a priority. I'm going to be there. So what you do is, if I had a coffee meeting scheduled an hour after that and I'm going to have to miss it, you just give them a call, you reschedule, and most of the time they'll understand. So it's just prioritizing even within your calendar, so that when that wrench comes in, you're prepared for it and you can adapt and you can modify it.
All right, that's good to know, because like with me and time management, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes once I'm late to everything. And it's like, oh, my day is wasted.
Yeah.
And so, like, hearing that, just adapting to that situation, because you can't judge your day. You can plan it to the T. One thing can throw it off balance.
There's billions of people in the world, and you can't control all of them. They all got their own calendars. So yeah, you can control as much as you can control, and then whatever else comes up, you just handle it.
All right. How do you determine to take a risk or when to be cautious?
Again, everything is a calculation. Everything's kind of risk reward. So, for example, again, to start my own firm, it was riskier to stay with my old firm. Yeah, I would have had a desk to go to, an office to go to, but I was still responsible for bringing in business. My pay structure was such that if I didn't bring in business, I wasn't going to get paid. And then what I was going to get paid, then half of it was going to go to the law firm. That's why it was riskier to stay with them. If I was already doing all my own marketing, already doing all my own business generation, why am I giving the law firm half of my paycheck? It's riskier for me to stay, whereas I can go out on my own, pay rent, pay a little bit of overhead, but ultimately I'm going to be spending less money and making more money. So that risk was a calculated risk, but it was one that was worth taking. Others, it's just, it's too speculative, it's too risky, it's not worth your time, you don't do it. And other things are small risks, and those are worth, stepping out and going ahead to do. So it's like anything else. You just kind of weigh it, and you figure out if it's worth it, if the reward is worth the exposure, so to speak.
Good to know, because like sometimes I have an issue, like either it's going to be a short-term risk or a long-term risk. So it's like picking and choosing to see what's going to benefit me now. And like some people look short-term versus long-term.
Yeah, well, one thing that you have to keep in mind, if it's a risk that's going to affect your reputation and going to make you look bad and going to affect you long-term, like you said, you don't take it. 'Cause especially as an attorney, all we really go on or really have to market to people is our reputation. And once our reputation's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. So if it's any kind of shortcut or risk that's going to make us look bad and make us unmarketable, you just don't take it. But anything else, like business decisions, well, should I advertise in this newspaper? Should I spend this money on this website or different search engine optimization? Those you just work it in your budget. And again, you plan, you know how much you have the ability to spend for, and it might be a risk worth taking for the reward of maybe some more clients, that phone ringing a little bit more often by spending that money in whatever it is you're doing.
Okay, so well, since your profession is all about reputation,
Yeah.
and so question is, how do someone say have their reputation tarnished, and how do they repair from that, from your point of view?
The repair is tough. I mean, I'll kind of take it backwards. Repairing a reputation is almost impossible. I mean, the old cliche is it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, but an instant to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entirely true. So you could have an attorney who's been practicing 20 years, and he lies to the court one time, or forges an affidavit, or something like that. He's gone. Court's never going to trust him again. Clients aren't going to trust him again until he builds that trust back up again over the years. So it's just one of those things that you don't want to ever put your reputation on the line. And you build up your reputation just by being a good lawyer, in my particular case, or being a good citizen, or being involved, helping people out, being charitable, just being an upstanding person, being a nice guy, helping other people. Those are the ways you build your reputation, and then you can capitalize it on it, and hopefully it comes back to you financially. But you don't do those things for that to happen, but that thing's kind of a natural corollary. The better person you are, the more people are going to want to work with you.
Oh, no problem. That's good to know, because sometimes people gain it, some people lose it, and they're always trying to find a way back to the top.
And you'll never come all the way back. Once your reputation's tarnished, especially if it's something egregious, something horrible, you're never going to come all the way back for me. You can make strides towards where you were, but it's always going to be in the back of people's mind that, what, there was this time where he was really shady about this, and maybe was unethical in this regard, or was a total jerk in litigation and called opposing counsel names, whatever it is in the heat of the moment, that you lose it. And then once that trust is gone, it's never going to come fully back.
Okay. Always the best you can do is try to earn it as much as you can.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what type of fear or obstacle is worse for like a new business or a new firm?
The worst fear is just the fear of taking that first step. I talk to attorneys that are with other law firms, and they're thinking about coming out on their own, and they ask me for advice, and I tell them, just get over the fear. Business will come. There's work out there. You're a good attorney. As long as you put in the work, you'll do fine. It's just everybody's afraid of not having that paycheck, that every 2-week paycheck being deposited in their account. No, you'll be fine. Just go out there, take that risk. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to be great, so to speak. And that's the biggest thing. It's just taking that first step. After you take that first step, you figure out the rest. The rest of it kind of falls into place for you, and it's more marketing, it's more advertising, it's more just kind of business nuance. But taking that first step is the scariest and biggest risk, but it's the one that most attorneys should take. Now, there's some attorneys that just aren't cut out for being their own business owner. Mm-hmm. They like having the comfort and security of working for somebody else, and they don't have that desire to kind of control their practice and their life outside of the structure of a big firm or a small firm. But for those that kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit, or just a little bit more, need that control, the biggest fear is just taking that step, and they should just do it.
Well, it's good to know that even in practicing law, there is a sense of an entrepreneurial spirit in that. So it's really awesome. I never knew that.
Yeah.
This is a 2-part question.
Sure.
And so I know you said time is your biggest obstacle right now, and then you all about reputation management. And so how did you feel when you conquered your first obstacle?
Time? I don't think that's ever fully conquered. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just a reality of life. You're pulled in many different directions, and as I said before, you control what you can control, and you make work what you can make work by prioritizing. Like, I will always put my faith, family, and firm, in that order. So, God first, my son second, client and firm third. I mean, they're all pretty up there. It's basically 1A, 1B, and 1C. But yeah, once you have your priority there, your priorities straight, then the rest of the calendar can kind of fall into place, and that's how you kind of overcome it. It's still a constant battle. I mean, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you can't be awake all 24 of them. So you really do have to figure it out consistently. And what was the second part of the question?
Well, I was just listing your 2 obstacles, and you said time is your current one, and it's how you feel. And with it being always ever evolving, do you have to come up with new techniques to combat it, since it's ever changing and you're always adapting?
Yeah, and technology's been great with that. You always have your calendar on your phone. You get reminders of it. You got it on your phone, on your laptop. You can have a paper calendar, and all those things help. And technology makes it really easy if you utilize it to know where you got to be and what time you got to leave. I mean, you can put it in Google Maps, and you can figure out it's going to take me 45 minutes to get there, so I have to leave this place by then in order to do that.
Oh, wow.
So it's just staying on top of it, and not letting it control you and you controlling it, so to speak.
So Have you always been able to manage time, or just something you had to learn?
It was definitely learned. Yeah, I didn't always manage my time well. It was more kind of free flowing, especially when I was in college, and then when I first started practicing law. It's definitely a learned skill, but it's one that's necessary, especially if you're going to succeed as a business owner. If you can't manage your clock, if you can't balance being a lawyer with being the business side of owning a law firm, doing the marketing, doing the advertising, paying the bills, doing the QuickBooks entries, you got to manage all that as well. And if you're constantly at the whims of other people, you're not going to succeed. You're going to flounder. You're going to miss a hearing. You're going to miss a bill. And then all those things happen to cause your reputation to go down. And then again, once you start losing your reputation, then you're not going to get clients. And it's just this downward spiral that if you can't stay on top of it, maybe you should stay working for another firm because you're maybe not cut out for it.
So with it being a learned skill with time, how did you learn how to make it a good habit? Like, is it something habitually you had checks and balances?
Yeah, it just evolved. I mean, it just really did. It started with, a paper calendar, and then it evolved to the Google Calendar, and now my case management software has a calendar that I also syncs with an app on my phone, and it makes it really easy to do. It really does, the way technology is. As long as you put stuff in there as soon as you set it, and don't forget to even put it in the calendar. But it's just an evolved skill, and it just takes practice, and it takes being consistent with it. As long as you're consistent with it and make a good habit, it's really not that bad. The time struggle I have is not so much knowing what's coming up and when, it's just trying to fit it all in. That's my biggest problem.
Do you wish we had more than 24 hours in a day?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, if we had more than 24 hours and needed more than, or could function off less than 6 to 8 hours of sleep, absolutely, that would be a godsend. But it's kind of funny though. You think that you would do better with more time, but it'd probably just be more stuff I try to jam in there, and it'd be the same thing, but just more of it. So it is what it is.
Okay, well, thank you for your time and sharing us your tidbit of reputation, time management, and how it's striking on your own. It can always be not a guarantee, but it's a nuance where if you stick to it, it will be prosperous.
Entrepreneurship, I love it. I mean, I love being involved with small businesses. I love helping small business owners. I am a small business owner myself, and if you got that streak in you, go do it. I mean, the worst that can happen is you fail. Michael Jordan didn't hit all the shots that he took. Wayne Gretzky didn't hit all the shots that he took. Businesses fail and they come back. I know plenty of business owners who have failed 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, and then they come back and they hit it and they strike it. So if it's one of those things, if you have that passion to be your own boss and you have that idea that's going to make a difference in the community, or that product that's going to change the world, go for it. Absolutely go for it.
All right, well, thank you. And would you like to let people know when you're going to be running again? When's the voting?
Yeah, again, the election's August 28th of this year, so it's during the primary. Absentee ballots will probably start going out in early August or late July. So I'd love to have your vote, love to have your support. You can learn more about my candidacy at www.bantnerforjudge.com. That's BANTNERFORJUDGE.com, Bantner for Judge. And other than that, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. I've enjoyed kind of sharing my journey to a small business owner and how we do.
Okay, we did pretty well. Well, thank you again.
All right, thank you.
And you're listening to Overcoming Fear, Entrepreneurship.